Hi, I'm Crystal Chen from DGO Asia Pacific. So today we are very glad to host a e-workshop with the Zoom breakout room platform with TACS and Welcome Malaysia. So just in case that if you have not tried the Zoom breakout room before, so today's e-workshop, we will have 4 breakout room stations. So I see that now we have 70 participants. So after the introduction, I'll just do a very simple introduction. All the participants will be automatically assigned to one of the 4 breakout rooms. So we have 4 stations. One is conservative treatment with ultrasound presented by Mr. Cliff Eaton. He's an expert with the ultrasound. And then another station is a rehabilitation treatment with shock wave, which will be presented by Stephen Chong. He's a physical therapist from DJO Hong Kong. And then the third station is exercise therapy with modality assisted. Will be presented by Jenny Yim from Welcome Malaysia. And another station is continuum of care presented by Xing Yi, product specialist from Welcome Malaysia. So you will join one of the stations, and each of the station is 10 minutes. About half of the time is its presentation. Another half is we will do some case sharing, and then very important that because since this is 100% tailor-made for TACS, so you can on your microphone during the live Q&A. So you can either type in your Q&A in the chat room, or you just on your microphone and ask questions. So we can accommodate to a interactive since it's a tailored for TACS only. So after each 20-minute session, you will be automatically pushed into the next station. And after that, the third station. So meaning that after 4 times 20 minutes, which is 80 minutes, all of us will come back to the Zoom lobby. This is where we now, right now here, right? A digital administrator will remain in the lobby. So don't worry if due to Wi-Fi or technical issue, you got dropped off in one of the stations. Our admin in the lobby will put you back into the station where you left. So all of you will be able to go through all 4 stations, 4 times 20 minutes. So total 80 minutes. Okay. So before we go to the breakout room, just a little bit introduction. You may be familiar with the pain relief ladder from the World Health Organization for treatment of pain from cancer. And patients tend to take stronger painkillers as they go up the ladder for pain. Now, we all heard the opioid pandemic in the USA. And in fact, the US FDA called it the biggest crisis in the US. They say this is even more serious than terrorism. So if we should reduce the use of chemical painkiller, then what do we use for pain relief? Well, today's e-workshop is designed to show that physical painkiller, physical modalities such as bracing, ultrasound, shockwave, together with exercise and rehab, would be able to reduce some of the use of painkillers. And this is proposed by Professor Jim Richards from University of Central Lancashire in the UK. He proposed this ladder of intervention for knee pain at the World Congress of Physiotherapy 2015. So based on this ladder of intervention that we are suggesting with evidence-based approach ultrasound, shockwave, proprioceptive bracing, and unloading more rigid knee bracing together with exercise platform to address the different barriers that knee OA patient experience, because patients have very different lifestyle and activity level and preferences, and they may experience different barrier as they go up the ladder, including pain, stability, strength, alignment. So the different modalities are addressing the different barriers, and usually a combination of modalities is used. Okay, so from here, let's go into the breakout rooms. Okay, so in this breakout room, Cliff will be presenting ultrasound for knee OA. And there are 4 parts of the presentation. And by the way, to avoid Wi-Fi technical problem, we pre-recorded Cliff's presentations. And these presentations are also available in the DJO Academy website if you want to review it and watch the replay. So first, it's about the evidence of ultrasound treating knee OA.
Crystal, I don't know if it's just me, but see the slide, but there's no sound. The video is playing, but there's no sound. Is it muted by any chance?
No. Sorry. Sorry, let me check. 佢話聽唔聲。
你個段片冇聲。
係啊，係咪我入嚟嗰陣時？
冇關係，你開咗，但係咩啊？你右下角播片睇下有冇聲，啱啱嗰啲。唔係啱啱，你睇下呢度有冇拉高佢？拉到最高。啊，而家播。
Cliff, can you hear the sound?
Press play. No. No. Press on the speaker button again, because sometimes it mutes and you have to, yeah, and then just press on it. Now press play again. No, we're not getting it. So why don't I sort of try to do this live?
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so yeah, it was pre-recorded, guys, just because of the internet. So sorry about that. Look, what I wanted to just talk about is this intervention of ultrasound for OA knee. There are currently 150 published studies supporting the use of therapeutic ultrasound for improving pain and function. Now, ultrasound can reduce pain and improve physical function, according to Wu et al. 2019, a fantastic systematic review and meta-analysis of the literature. And ultrasound and I'll come back to this sort of study and give you a bit more detail. And the second by De Vrinsel et al. 2019, ultrasound could be more effective than muscle stim for improving pain and function, but muscle stim leads to improved muscle architecture. And I'll explain a bit more about that. So, and then ultrasound is beneficial for improving physical functions for patients with knee OA, according to Zhang et al.'s Systematic Review 2016. So we've got a lot of good quality evidence out there. Now, if I go back to that De Vrinsel et al.'s 2019, they applied ultrasound for 15 sessions for 3 weeks. That's 5 sessions per week, at 1 watts per centimeter squared for 5 minutes, using a 5 centimeter diameter probe. In Zhang et al. 2014, they compared pulse ultrasound to continuous ultrasound and found actually that pulse ultrasound was more effective for pain and function compared to continuous ultrasound, which only showed improvements in pain. So if you're using ultrasound or considering using ultrasound, it's important to ensure that you have both 1 megahertz and 3 megahertz frequency options on your machine, and also consider having the facility to choose between the different size probes. Otherwise, you've got to keep unplugging one and plugging another one in. So if we go to the next slide, so this is where it really starts to come sort of interesting for me. Yeah, try this one.
I tried. So can you hear this?
Okay, so let's let's just sort of go through the parameters, which hopefully will be explained and will correctly bring about the desired effects. Because ultrasound works if you choose the right patient at the right time of healing, and you've chosen the right modality with the right settings. Okay, and it's the settings that sort of people tend to get wrong. So I want to just sort of make sure that you know, and it's yeah, hopefully clarify it. It's not that hard. Okay, so ultrasound, the depth of therapeutic penetration is determined by the frequency. You can have 1 megahertz or 3.3 megahertz available. Now it's actually converse for those who don't know. So actually 1 megahertz is better for superficial, and you've got a depth of penetration down about 2 centimeters. Over 2 centimeters, the 3 megahertz is superficial, I do beg your pardon, and the 1 megahertz is for deeper structures over 2 meters. Okay, so it's not the higher number goes deeper, it's actually the lower number that goes deeper. Now, when we're looking at different presentations, we're going to use different duty cycles, so on-off ratios. So in acute presentation, now I worked in professional sports, so I could start people day 0. And at that stage, I would start at 1 to 9. So the machine's on for 1 second, and then it's off for 9 seconds. And then after a couple of days of that, then I'll move on to 1 to 4, where it's on for 1 and off for 4. In a subacute stage, I'll choose 1 to 3 or 1 to 2. And in the chronic, that's sort of 50%, so it's on 1, off 1, or 100% continuous. But as I said, what we've seen with OA knee is that actually, it's better to have pulse ultrasound than continuous. Okay, so based on available evidence, it's possible to construct an effective dose calculation. Okay, this chart below is published and freely available to you on Professor Tim Watson's site, who's like the guru of electrophysical agents. And his website is electrotherapy.org. Okay, so you can then sort of, so we've dealt with the sort of pulse ratio. And then if you look at the intensities in acute, you're looking for 0.1 to 0.3 watts per centimeter squared at the depth of lesion. That's not at the skin, guys. That's at the depth of lesion, because sound waves attenuate as they travel through human tissue. So there are what they're called SATA tables, spatial average, temporal average tables, which will tell you what dosage you need to apply at the skin in order to get that type of dosage at the lesion. Okay, so subacute, we've got 0.2 to 0.5 watts per centimeter squared, and chronic is a lot higher. It's 0.3 to 0.8 watts per centimeter squared. Now, a lot of the literature states that for therapeutic benefit, you don't really need to go above 0.5 watts per centimeter squared at the lesion. Okay, so here's that SATA table. Now, say these are available for you to sort of download, and I know DJO supply them as well. So look, so if you've got a depth of lesion, let's say of 2 centimeters, and you want to provide something for a subacute condition, 0.3 watts per centimeter squared. At the skin, you're going to dial in 0.54, or as close to that as you can get. Okay, and that allows then for the attenuation through the tissue. Okay, so that's how to work out. So 3 megahertz is for less than 2 centimeters depth of penetration. 1 megahertz is for over 2 centimeters, down to about 5 centimeters. Okay, so we can move on. We've got a slide about stem cells. That's something I'm really interested in. Or did we miss that one? Or did I miss that one? Okay, here we go. Look. Yeah, okay.
This is the NEOA protocol, Chattanooga.
Yeah, okay. So look, what I was saying on this video, which unfortunately you can't see, we had to do it for the for an international meeting, and during COVID we couldn't have a live patient, so I've had to use a dummy. He's not as terminally ill as he looked, actually. Look, what I'm sort of saying there is mesenchymal cells, or mesenchymal stromal cells, can differentiate into a variety of cell types depending on the target tissue. Now, according to Louis et al. In 2019, they have the ability to home towards the damaged tissue and act as a repository for regenerative molecules. So in order to promote this, there has been a particular interest emerging in ultrasound, because sound waves create mechanical pressure in the extracellular matrix, creating a mechanotransduction pathway and altering then the cell gene expression. And in Louis et al.'s study, they found these both in vitro and in vivo studies, albeit the in vivo studies were still animal trials. But this is sort of relatively sort of new research, and I think it's really exciting to see that we can use sound wave energies to promote stem cell treatments, because we used to think that they were only available in placental tissue, but now we know that actually they do occur in humans and we can influence them. So
right. So Cliff, stem cell is the last topic. This part, I think, is the treatment protocol for the Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
this,
the part that Cliff just mentioned, the literatures are here.
Oh, okay. Ah, okay. I was on that one. I do beg your pardon. Okay, we lost track of where we were with the slides. So they were all going on. But yeah, so this is the one about sort of stem cells, guys. And I mean, this is available to you. It's been recorded, so you'll see there that stem cells need a trigger to initiate this differentiation, and things like photobiomodulation, shockwave, and ultrasound have been proven very, very effective at creating that homing in from the stem cells onto the damaged tissue. So. Okay. Back to my really sick patient, bless him. Yeah. So that's what I was sort of saying. I mean, you'll find several sort of studies, but the latest research that I've found was that study by De Vremsel et al., where they applied ultrasound for 15 sessions for 3 weeks, 5 per week, 1 centimeter squared, 1 megahertz for 5 minutes using a 5 diameter probe, and that's done bilaterally. So they do it over the medial and lateral condyles, but not over the patella.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the practical demo of it. So now time for some Q&A or just this discussion. So you have any question or feedback? You feel free to
just type them into the chat thing there.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and then we'll see. Yeah, everybody was worried about there being no audio. To the chat, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, so what I'm trying to put across is that sound waves, whether you put them through ultrasound or if you've got extracorporeal shockwave therapy, that's, you know, that creates this mechanotransduction, which is responsible for expediting the healing.
即係冇聲。
Okay, any questions? More questions come in? Everybody's gone shy on me.
Yeah, so I heard you guys also use also do some PRP stem cell. So it would be interesting to hear your sharing. Oh, usually, okay, here's one question. Usually how many minutes that is the best for ultrasound treatment?
Oh, brilliant. Oh, thank you for that question, because I might not have made that clear. Okay, so what you do, and I put the slide on this, but we wasn't sure how much time we had, but look, this is the key part, guys. The key, you're going to need to provide 1 minute's worth of treatment per
Recording in progress.
Hi, Anita. 咪而家全部喺大房啊嘛，你解釋咗先啦，人知發生咩事先啦。 聽唔到啊，你 mute 咗啊。Sorry, there's a admin issue. So we are back in the same breakout room. Yeah, so 咁即係點啊？Anita？唔係，咁而家即係點啊？我哋係繼續嗰 breakout room 定係點啊？Okay, sorry. Cliff, yeah, we can continue with our breakout room. Sorry about that.
No problem. Hopefully the videos will work this time. If not, but
yeah, we continue with the first breakout room. So yeah, the question was how many minutes for
we're going to carry on. Oh, okay.
Yes,
So you did,
yes.
oh God, gosh, I went into great diatribe there, and you obviously all missed it. Look, thank you for that question, because it is the most important setting when you're using ultrasound, and the one that most therapists get wrong. You need to apply 1 minute's worth of treatment per treatment head over the affected area. So let's say you're using a 5 centimeter diameter probe and it fits into the target tissue twice. Okay, so it's 10 centimeters squared. And you've got to offer 1 minute's worth of treatment. Now, my workshops, I normally ask people how many minutes do they put it in, and I usually get sort of 2 or 3 or 5. You know, people are guessing because they can't remember. It's 1 minute's worth of treatment. Now, if you're using a duty cycle, remember duty cycles are on and off. So if, for example, I'm using a duty cycle of 20%, or 1:4 ratio, it's on for 1 second and off for 4 seconds. So in order for me to get 2 minutes worth of treatment, I need to apply that ultrasound over that area for 10 minutes. Okay, because each treatment time is 12 seconds. And then if we do that 10 times, we get 120 minutes worth of treatment. So I hope that helps. It's really, really important. Okay, back to you. Now you got your ears in.
Yes. Yeah, we have about 1 minute left for the breakout room.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions?
I think we've done well. Yeah. So look, you know, just to summarize, ultrasound is quite a maligned intervention because people haven't always got the results. But it will work if you're using it on the right patient at the right time, right healing, but most importantly, the right setting. So if you've got that settings right, the literature tells us, and it's good quality research, and it's said there's been some very good systematic reviews and meta-analysis on this. It does help with pain and function for knee OA.
Okay, we have 1 minute left. Cliff, I think one of the video that we kind of missed was the area that you treat with on Fred.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the area is you actually do it over the medial and lateral condyle, but and you can palpate every doctor and therapist does this. We sort of palpate and we find the spot. And the patient tells us, so we know that's where we've got to treat. And you also go posterior over the posterior joint line, but you don't go over the patella. You avoid the patella.
Okay.
Okay. So if you've got unilateral symptoms, and your head fits in there once, you'll just treat that. But if you've got bilateral symptoms, then you do both. Okay, both condyles.
Okay, so I think we are moving to the next breakout room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. So this is Anita, the clinical advisor from DJO. Co-host with me is Seng Yi from Wellchem. You are now in Continuum of Care session. So today we have a presentation and Q&A session. Please remain your microphone mute during presentation. And let's welcome Seng Yi.
Oh, okay. So I was on mute. Welcome to the Continuum of Care station. I'm Seng Yi from Wellchem, and today I'll be talking about how proprioceptive bracing can help in the continuum of care, especially in knee OA patients. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to just type it into the chat box. Okay, moving on. Okay. So first, I would like to start off by sharing with you these two webinars that was organized by DJO. In this first webinar titled OA Management and Meniscal Tears, one of the webinar speakers, Dr. Graham, he shared his professional experience in using the OA reaction to frame surgical decisions in the management of OA in his patients. And interestingly also, he also shared his personal experience in using the OA reaction brace himself, as he has OA as well. And he shared that the brace actually helped him in relieving pain during his exercises, and he felt much better the next day, because previously when he would use to do exercises, his knee would hurt a lot the next day. And in this second webinar, it also highlighted some clinical evidence which emphasized the importance of knee joint movement and functional exercises for the conservative management of knee OA. The speaker also talked about the motion is medicine approach, which encourages optimal loading exercises as part of the holistic management of knee OA. However, I'm sure as therapists and clinicians yourselves, you've seen lots of OA patients who experience symptoms such as pain, joint stiffness, knee instability, and kinesiophobia. And this can make it difficult for conventional exercise programs to be effective. So today we'll be looking at how proprioceptive bracing can help in addressing these issues, specifically our OA reaction knee brace, which can be a useful tool in the continuum of care. Okay, so both of these webinars are available on DJO Academy. So feel free to scan the QR code if you'd like to watch the replays. Okay, so how can proprioceptive bracing help patients with OA? Okay, so in the case of OA patients, right, they typically have impaired proprioception in their knee, and this impaired proprioception leads to reduced knee protection, and this results in even more degenerative changes. But when a patient applies a proprioceptive knee brace, such as the OA reaction, onto their skin, this point of contact on the skin acts as a proprioceptive feedback to the brain. And with this constant reminder, this actually improves motor control and results in improved joint stability and better quality of movements. Okay, so to my right here, this is a real life example of an 88-year-old elderly lady. She has been prescribed to do home exercises on a home bike due to another medical condition. Initially, she tried to do it without bracing, but she could not even complete one cycle. But with a proprioceptive knee brace here, you can see that she's able to complete her exercises easily. And it's also amazing how she has incorporated this into this brace as part of her daily lifestyle. Okay, so in terms of OA, a proprioceptive bracing can actually help in improving their daily activities of daily living and help them lead a better quality of life. Okay, moving on. Okay, next I would like to share a study done by Professor Jim Richards. He's a professor of biomechanics in the University of Lancashire in the UK, and he's actually very well published in his field. So his research demonstrated that using a proprioceptive knee brace actually showed significant improvement in knee stability and also in movement control. Okay, this is during step down motion. And the study also demonstrated that there is 30% improvement in the pain and also in motion. And since patients feel the increased knee stability and improved movement control in their knee, patients would want to move even more because they can move even more. Okay, and some interesting facts about this study is that they actually had a participant who is a golfer. He plays golf, and prior to trying out the OA reaction, he could not play at all due to his knee OA. But after trying out the OA reaction, he can actually finish 18 holes. So that's quite amazing, isn't it? Okay. Next here, we have a local patient. This is local patient here in Malaysia, and it's a very good example on how the OA reaction knee brace can work. And just a little background info: the patient has bilateral OA, knee OA, and prior to trying out the OA reaction, he would always be in pain when going up and down the stairs, and it was really affecting his quality of life as well. Let's have a look at the video after he tries out the OA reaction knee brace. You can see how carefree he is going up and down the stairs. And look at how confident he is jumping down the last two stages. Yep. So that is also quite something great. Okay, moving on, I'll be introducing some recommended exercises which patients can do with a proprioceptive knee brace. Due to the loss of proprioception in OA patients, exercises can be very challenging for them. When patients try to do these prescribed exercises that you have arranged for them, they tend to think that they're doing it correctly, but sometimes that may not be the case. Okay, if you look at this video here, you can see that the patient without the brace, both knees are not in sync and there's poor quality of movements. This is usually due to overcompensation by the other knee, whereas with a proprioceptive knee brace here, such as the OA reaction, you can see that there is better quality of movements and there is also improved posture. Yep. So you can see how much better the knees is like much in sync already. And as patients improve their posture and quality of movements, they can slowly graduate into more independent exercises, such as here, he's not holding to a chair anymore while doing the sit up and sit down exercise. And here you can see that he incorporated the use of resistant bands, yeah, to increase the intensity of his exercises. Okay. Also, with the continuum of care in mind, we want to prevent any accidental falls that may occur among patients with knee problems, especially since they're usually of the elderly population. And we can see that the OA reaction is able to train the brain to coordinate the different muscles to work together. And if you look at this video, you can see that without the brace, he is very wobbly in the side step motion. But with a brace, there is improved knee control and balance, and you can see how confident he is doing the side step exercise. Okay, so this is very important, especially if patients they are at home alone. Okay. Okay, so this is another local testimony of an elderly patient. She really likes the OA reaction and she felt immediate relief when she tried on the OA reaction and started walking around at home. She also mentioned that she feels more support at the patella area due to the silicone rod design. It has a very good grip. Okay, so in the beginning of the presentation, I shared this webinar, which also discussed the management of meniscus tears. So in the case of meniscus injuries, it can affect a patient's mobility and therefore can interfere with the patient's daily activities, such as climbing up and down the stairs or getting in and out of a car. And if there is pain, there will be a lot of proprioception as well. And this is why meniscus patients tend to experience a giving way sensation in their knee. And in addition to causing problems in activities of daily living, a torn meniscus usually interferes with the patient's ability to participate in active sports, particularly when they involve these twisting motions. So something I would like to highlight is that whether it is conservative management or post-op during rehab, you can consider OA reaction for meniscus injuries as well, because it has that proprioceptive effect and therefore will be able to provide that movement control that the knee requires. Okay, let's have a look at this video. This is a patient with meniscus injury. You can see that on my right here, there's improved lower limb alignment and stability, and there's significantly less body compensation as well, and there's improved posture. Okay. Okay, so in terms of continuum of care, previously we talked about OA patients returning to ADL and doing home exercises with the help of the OA reaction. But what about those patients who are more on the active side and they have other knee injuries and they would like to return to sports? This is why I would like to introduce another proprioceptive knee brace called the Trizone. I think some of the tech centers have this Trizone knee brace, but not all, I think. Okay, so the Trizone is indicated for anterior knee pain and patellofemoral pain. It also has a unique knit design, which provides targeted compression around the knee. Okay, so let me just play this introduction video.
Hi, I'm Nick Gomez. I'm a global product manager at DJO Global, and I'm here to talk to you about the new Trizone knee sleeve. This is a high-tech knit, compression knit knee sleeve, and it can help you if you're suffering from mild knee pain or aches and pains while you're doing your workouts or functions. Then this product can help you maintain your peak performance, and it's targeted at knee pain. So it targets knee pain in 3 specific ways. One is it's made out of carbonized bamboo. That's the black portion here. The carbonized bamboo is soft to the skin, but it's also antimicrobial, and it's a 4-way stretch. So it creates nice compression, comfortable around your knee. Secondly is the gray stitch area. The gray stitch is a higher compressive knit that helps target knee pain right where you need it. The Trizone knee sleeve has silicone around the outside to help reinforce the knit. It also has silicone on the inside. So as you can see, there's a silicone band right on the inside around the thigh, and that's to make sure that the brace stays in place while you're during your activities. It also has silicone right around the patella area, which is your kneecap. And that helps to grab the musculature and the bone around your knee to really target that knee pain and give you a high level of performance during your activity.
Okay, so the Trizone has different zones of stretch properties. So this actually maximizes the proprioceptive feedback when the patient is wearing the brace and doing their sports. Okay. Okay, before we move on to the fitting guide, do we have any questions so far? Okay, feel free to just type it into the chat box if
Recording
you have
in progress.
Okay. So if we don't have any questions, I'll just move on to the fitting guide. Okay, so typically the questions I get usually relate to the to how to fit the knee braces. So I'll play this short fitting video. So maybe it'll help you in assisting your patients as well.
Right now, we're going to show you how to fit the Trizone knee sleeve. And what you're going to do, Tom, is you're going to put the sleeve on, pull it up so that your kneecap is in this gray area. This silicone will surround the outside part of your knee. And then this goes on top on the thigh, and this goes on the bottom of the shin. Okay. What you'll notice with the knee sleeve is that on the inside of the sleeve, there's silicone as well. And that's to help grab and make sure the knee sleeve stays in the correct place. What you'll notice on the inside of the sleeve is that there's also silicone around the top and around the kneecap. And sometimes your skin has to get used to the silicone. So you'll want to break it in and wear it maybe just a couple hours a day during your workouts, and then take it off. And then at some point, if you'd like to wear it for longer, you can.
Yep, so that is something to look out for as well, because some patients may be sensitive towards silicone. So you can look out for this in your patients. Okay.
But you got to get your skin used to the silicone first.
So after you've worn it for a couple of hours, what's the best way to take care of this?
That's a good question. You're going to want to hand wash it and air dry it. So just hand wash it in the sink with some mild detergent, and then just air dry it on a clothes hanger.
So when you're figuring out what size, what's the best way to figure out what's tight enough, too tight? How do you figure out the sizing on this?
That's a good question. So on the thigh portion, you're going to measure 6 inches above your kneecap. Move 6 inches up. You're going to take a circumference around, and that'll give you the measurement. Refer to our website sizing chart, and then you'll get the sizing that you need for your particular leg. Once you receive the brace, you'll notice that it is a compression garment, so it'll fit nice and snug around the calf, knee, and thigh. We're really excited about our new Trizone
Okay, next we will move on to the fitting guide for the OA reaction knee brace.
I would like to add something.
Okay.
Refer to the last room, we're asking how to wear the brace if there is allergy. Actually, myself, just for personal experience, I do wear trizone myself during some sport games. So if your patients are very sensitive, have sensitive skin like I do, I actually wear them during the game. So after that, I will remove the brace just for until my next game. Yep. So that way, my skin would have time to get used to the silicone, the reaction for it. So then I won't get so much allergy. And in fact, I didn't get any allergy from this brace. I actually got some allergy from those Japanese types of compression stockings. So as you know, those Japanese type stockings, silicones are well known as less allergy. So as you can tell, I'm very sensitive to silicone. So this brace for me didn't give me any trouble. Feel free to let your patient try. And for OA reaction, we recommend to wear much longer because those patients usually will have OA problem. So whenever they wear OA reaction, ask them to wear them during their activity in motion, not just sitting around. So time's actually really running fast. We only have 1 minute left. So Xingyi, we want to round it up.
Yeah.
All right. So for this station, we're really focusing in the proprioceptive. So I hope proprioception bracing really help the different types of patients. And hope you enjoy the station. The next station for you will be the rehab therapy ultrasound with Crystal and Cleve. So all the materials will be available in Digital Academy. And then I'll see you all back in the lobby later. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Hi everyone, so this is Leo from DJO. So we have Jenny from Wellcome. She's going to speak the topic about the exercise therapy modality assisted. So, so if you have any question, just feel free to ask or input into the chat room. So for the last 5 minutes, we can provide the answer. So Jenny.
Thank you, Leo, for the kind introduction. And hello, everyone. Yeah, so we'll be actually talking about the exercise therapy mobility assisted in this session. Okay, and in this session, we hope that we hope that we'll be able to share with you on the understanding of the biomechanics of the knee OA and also the offloading mechanism. Also, some clinical studies and also case studies, and some commonly asked FAQs. Now, to kickstart this session, we'd like to actually get some of your answers from this question. Oops, I showed the answer too far. Okay, so approximately 60 to 80% of the load is actually transmitted in the medial compartment of a normal knee. How much loading do you think that goes through the medial compartment for patients with knee OA? Anyone? You can shout out your question.
I
they already know the answer.
I saw the answer from the chat room. It's 100%. It's correct.
Wow, who is that? Let me see. Very good. Samuel, very well done. Okay, So since you know it's actually 100%, can I know why you say that? Okay, so why is it? Hello, sorry, someone was saying something. Okay, so why is it 100%? Now, if you look at this picture over here, this is actually the gait analysis of what happens in the knee during walking. Okay, and you can see that red line that goes through the medial side of the knee. That is actually the ground reaction force. Okay, or we call it loading, the load. And in a normal knee, 60 to 80% of that load is actually transmitted through the medial compartment. So well done, Samuel, on answering the question earlier. However, for patients with the knee OA, that is actually 100%. Okay, and this, as a result of this, right, patients actually experience a lot of pain. So why is this relevant? If you look at this graph on the right-hand side, okay, what this graph shows is the different amounts of loading, okay, experienced by the patient at various stance phase during the gait cycle. Now, the red line is actually the unbraced knee, whereas the blue line is actually patient wearing a brace. So at the beginning of gait cycle, okay, at heel strike, you can see that the amount of load actually increases, okay, and it peaks at mid stance. Okay, notice that, you know, the red line, you know, this is actually where it is the highest amount of loading, and also it is when patient usually tell you that they have the highest amount of pain. So if you look at the brace group, okay, do you know how much reduction of load that the brace group actually experience? Anyone? %80. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, Samuel. Terror. Okay. Thank you very much, Samuel. Right. Actually, I wish our brace was actually able to reduce up to 80%, but actually, it's actually 20 to 25% reduction. But that's a lot already, okay? Because imagine that we're supposed to take about 5,000 steps a day. And for patients who actually have knee pain, that 25% of reduction, every step that they take would have made a world of difference to them. Okay, so it is important that patients are given an effective unloading brace. Okay, so how do the OA brace work? We have Prof. Jim Richards here, who is actually the professor in biomechanics from the University of Lancashire, UK, to share with us.
Where we have found that knee OA bracing can actually reduce the knee varus deformity as well as reducing the knee adduction moment. And both of these things have the benefit of reducing the knee pain on the medial compartment in patients with medial compartment knee osteoarthritis. So this is an OA Adjuster 3, and we are able to dial in different amounts of correction. And we can see that this gets pushed in, creating a force on the lateral aspect of the knee. So by adjusting this, we can adjust a certain number of degrees and have a controlled amount of adjustment. So this is now pushing into the lateral aspect of the knee, which is then creating a reaction force there and there, which is the thing which is creating the correcting moment to realign the knee in the coronal plane.
Okay, so a quick question again. Can anyone tell what is the mechanism in relieving knee OA pain?
Some tips is talking about motion. What kind of motion? Is starting letter A.
Anyone? Okay, so the answer is, okay, sorry, it's actually reducing the adduction moment, okay? Because when you reduce the load that is experienced by the knee, it will actually reduce the pain experienced by the person. However, it is important to remember that when using an unloading brace, the focus should not be on how straight you can actually adjust the knee to, but how much you can actually help to offload, as you can see earlier in the video. Okay, and we would also like to let you know that once the offloading is actually applied to the brace, the knee joint actually remains unloaded while they actually walk. Okay, because once you are able to offload the pressure from the affected compartment, the patient will actually experience less pain. So what do guidelines actually say, or what are there any studies demonstrated? According to the OARSI recommendations published in 2008-2013, you can see from the table here, the top recommendations are actually regular exercise and weight reduction. But I'm sure as clinicians as yourself is that in order to get the patients to exercise regularly or even manage their weight, it is almost near impossible, okay, for this group of patients who are experiencing so much pain due to the knee OA and also some loss in terms of their mobility. So a knee brace, which actually helps to improve the knee stability and combined together with electrotherapy, TENS or NMES, that helps to reduce the pain. These two modalities, when combined together, actually helps to improve the efficacy of the exercise prescribed. Okay, and you can see that over here in this table, it goes hand in hand, you know, in the management of knee OA. And we have this study published in 2020 last year in the Journal of Institution of Mechanical Engineers by Saad et al. And this study was actually done locally in And what Saad and his team actually looked at was comparing a knee orthosis versus the gait retraining. And they looked into the immediate response in terms of the improvement in the physical performance between healthy individuals and also individuals with knee OA. And what was found out was the toe-out gait retraining impaired the physical function severely, and therefore it is not recommended, while a knee brace is actually highly recommended because of its profound immediate effects. And you can see in terms of the percentage of change, speed, and also stair climbing, there is actually an improvement demonstrated. And this is clearly illustrated in this graph on this slide, where the percentage of change in the OA patient group, and you can see that for patients who are actually wearing the OA adjuster, there was an improvement in the distance, the stair climbing activity, and also the speed of walking. Now, having said that, do we have any patients who actually wear this brace? Of course, we'd like to actually share with you this case study of an 80-year-old female patient. And just to give you a brief background about herself is that she is actually retired. She's been experiencing severe knee OA, and you can see from this picture here that she has actually quite an advanced valgus knee, hypertensive, and also she's not a suitable candidate for TKR surgery. She hasn't gone out of the house for 2 years due to the pain and muscle weakness experience. And there was actually a sign of depression noted. So what happened is that the treatment that was actually given for this patient was, she was actually prescribed with an OA adjuster, which is a rigid brace, and she was put on the vibration platform with her actually wearing the brace to do the strengthening exercises. And this was required of her to attend 2 to 3 sessions a week at the rehab center. And of course, home exercises were also taught to her. And after 1 month, what happened is that this lady was able to go out shopping, manage going up and downstairs without pain, and even went to Disneyland with her children, with her grandchildren. Okay. We also have another lady, Madam Tan, who is a 69-year-old, and she's a farmer in Cameron Highlands. And this is what she had to say, that she felt better with the brace because the nature of her work, that she needed to actually carry heavy things. And she preferred the OA Nano, which is the brace that you see in this picture on your right, because of its low profile feature. So moving on, we'd like to actually share a video, a fitting video on how we actually offload the knee. So after strapping and attaching the knee brace to the knee, you actually get the patient to walk a bit in the brace, okay, just to let them get accustomed to it. And always get the patient to stand. Oh, sorry. You get the patient to stand, okay, to offload the brace. So you dial in by using the Allen key, turning clockwise at the thigh cuff and also the calf cuff, and you can see the condyle actually moving inwards towards the lateral side of the femur. Okay, and then after that, get the patient to walk again and make sure that the brace does not slip off. Okay, so before we come to the FAQs, may I know if there's any other questions that you all like to, that you have any questions to ask?
We still have 4 minutes Q&A session. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah. I think I just thought of a question, Leo. One of the common feedback that I usually get, right, from patients who actually given the rigid brace, like the OA Nano, sometimes we get feedback that the brace actually slides down. So this is actually one of the very common issues that we hear. Actually, if the brace is actually worn properly and secured properly, the sizing is correct, that would actually help to avoid the situation where the brace actually slides down the knee. Okay. Of course, we will go through with you when we meet you, or even our colleagues who are based outstation, meet you and show you how to fit the OA brace. Okay, because there are anatomical landmarks that you need to be aware of before fitting the brace. Okay. Any questions before I move to one of the FAQs that we also encounter? Okay, if not, the other question that we usually encounter is the duration of using the brace. Okay, so we would like to also share with you that to ensure the optimal offloading effect while using the brace, the correct sizing is actually very important. Also, when it comes to the OA Nano, which is actually a rigid brace, the frame itself is actually malleable. So you can actually expand it a little bit or actually compress the frame to a certain extent to actually give it a better fit. Then that will actually help in terms of when you need to dial in the offloading effect on the knee. And also a very important point that we would also like to share with you is that patients can only benefit what the brace can do when they're actually wearing the brace during their daily activities or during motion. And this is also clinically supported by Hurley et al. What Hurley actually said back in 2012 in the Archives of Physical Medicine Rehabilitation is that the more you actually use the unloader brace, the more benefit the patient can actually have in terms of reducing pain and improving their function and strength. So there is we understand from the previous group that you have like a treatment protocol, a treatment duration on when you put the patient on brace in conjunction with the treatment modalities that you actually prescribe to your patients. I think with ultrasound and shockwave, if I'm not mistaken. So for us, what happens is that for the Don joint OA brace, we actually encourage the patient to wear the brace when they are actually walking, as I mentioned earlier. And so we would actually encourage them to increase the usage time as much as possible and as early as possible to benefit from the effect of the brace. Okay. So
thank you everyone thank you Jennifer, of course. It's a great presentation with a lot of patient example and then help us to choose the correct OA basic. So you are very good. So stay here and then go to the last workshop. It's called
Wow. Hi, group. So I think it comes down to the final station of today. Sanjeev, you may want to start.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Actually, I think we'll give a little bit of introduction. Thanks, team, for bearing with us for such a long session. And welcome to the DJO training platform. Myself, my name is Sanjeev Kapoor, and my company is Natsai Vital Health, which is the distributor of Chattanooga rehab products in Malaysia and Singapore. And as I say, I'm also a physiotherapist by profession, and I do my clinical practice actually in Singapore on a small basis. But of course, Chattanooga, NATSA is my core business now at this point of time. Okay, for shockwave, we are talking of shockwaves for knee OA as a conservative management is becoming quite popular. And there are a lot of parameters across various settings. I think on this station, we will share the best practices for shockwave for knee OA. And Stephen, who is an expert from Hong Kong, will talk us through the details and is followed by the questions and answers at the end of the session. So Stephen, can we get started? Actually, I'll fire the thing to you. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev, for the kind introduction. So this is the final station of today. I want to change a little bit of my flow compared to the last 3 sections, because if I present everything, there will be no discussion from the group. So now I would like to go direct with by sharing a best practice from the UK. So how are they going to use shockwave therapy to treat knee OA patients? I will jump direct to that. And then we will go direct to the Q&A section. Now, allow me to share my screen. Right, my sharing screen. Okay, there you go. Now, first we start off with focus shockwave, and we can go to the further discussion between the focus and the radio in the final section. Now, their practice here, what they are doing is to use the focus shockwave to desensitize the treatment area. So that's why they want to stay very superficial by using a standoff. If you use a standoff, that means that focus shockwave energy will be relatively more superficial. And also they start off with a relatively low energy flux density, 0.03 to 0.05 millijoule per millimeter square. And bear in mind, the full capacity of a focus shockwave will be 0.55 millijoule per millimeter square. So now we are only using less than 10% of the full capacity as a desensitization to the area. And again, there is no absolute intensity for specific patients or specific indications. So that's why during the treatment, we want to start out with low energy, but during the treatment, we keep asking the patient feedback by using pain scale. So we want to address 5 out of 10 of pain scale. So that's why we need to keep collecting the feedback from patients by asking them. So if they are having like 7 to 8, and then we lower the energy flux density. If we are below than that, then we turn it up. Now, again, just like the radio pressure shock wave, the focus shock wave also need a conductor, which is normally an ultrasound gel as a medium to transmit the energy into the area. Now, I just want to share to you is that, as you can see, he is now going to stay at one point, but he is also trying to tilt the handpiece. The reason why he would like to tilt the handpiece is once the handpiece is tilted, the focal energy area will be adjusted. So once the energy level is turned into another area, it can facilitate us to identify the painful area, which is the damaged area. So that's why, even though we try to stay still, but we try to do a little bit tilting to look for the irritating area, which will be our treatment area. Okay, so stay still, but try to tilt and look for the target tissues. Now, this is only the desensitization of the area before we start the treatment. So after a couple of 100 shocks to desensitize, then we try to move forward with the treatment at the joint line. So for the real treatment at the joint line, we don't use the standoff. That means we go further deep down. So the patient may feel the shock wave can go halfway into the knee compared to with the standoff, which stay at the superficial level. They will tell you the difference. It can go halfway through the knee. Again, we try to use start off with a very low energy level and then gradually build up to 5 out of 10 of pain scale. Now you may wonder, ultimately, we want to gradually build up to 0.3 millijoule per millimeter square if the patient can tolerate that much of energy. But of course, you can't build in just 1 to 2 single sections. It takes time for the patient to build up the acceptance of the shockwave energy. Okay, so this is about the joint line with no standoff. And then here, before we do the shockwave therapy on the keyholes, what we already just covered is on the joint line, both medial and lateral, 1,000 shocks on each. After that is completed, because the whole idea we want to do with the shockwave is to bathe the knee with the shockwave. So that's why the current practice is to also deliver the shockwave at the keyholes, which is the dimples just next to the patella tendon, both medial and lateral. We call it the keyholes. So that's why we want to deliver another 500 shocks on each of the keyholes. We start off again with the low energy. However, because those area will be more fleshy area, so the patient can easily build up higher tolerance compared to the joint line, which is very near to the bones. So they can easily build up 0.2 to 0.3 millijoules at the first section. So bear in mind to ask for the pain scale, 5 out of 10. Always address for 5 out of 10 pain scale, no matter which area you are addressing. All right, so both sides, 500 shocks. Now here is a short summary on the bone management with the focus shock wave. Both lateral and medial joint line, 1,000 shock for each. And then we try to address both of the keyholes, 500 shocks for each. And remember to numb the area, the desensitization, before you start the treatment on the joint line. Use the first 1/3 of the shocks to numb the area. Start off low, and we can use a hertz of 7. Comparing to the radio pressure shock wave you are using, the focus shock wave can go further down in hertz in the frequency. So it is because of the technology that they are generating the shock wave. So that's why shock wave can go further down compared to the radio pressure shock wave. All right, so let's go to the soft tissues management. Now, we use radio pressure shock wave for soft tissues management. So now we are trying to change the transmitter to an oscillating transmitter, which is very good for muscles, ligament, and tendon management, because we try to loosen up those soft tissues. For knee OA patients, we want to also address the quadriceps, the whole quadriceps. We try to use 2 bar of energy and 12 hertz, and we try to cover the entire quad with around 5,000 to 6,000 shocks. Now, another note here, I know that most of you are very familiar on how to do a radio pressure shock wave treatment, just like doing some painting on the muscles group. However, I would like to share a tip to you that while you are moving along the transmitter, so once if you come across with any resistance while you are moving the transmitter, and at that point, the patient become very sensitive to the shock wave, that would be the trigger points. That would be the trigger points that for that patient. And you may want to deliver another couple of 100 shocks at that trigger points before you move along to other area. Okay. Of course, during you do the painting with the radio pressure shock wave, you want to address the VL, the vastus lateralis, and also the rectus femoris, VMO, and remember, do not forget the adductors, because for most Neo-A patients, sometimes they also have very tight adductors because they are pretty much adducted on the from the hip. All right. So 6,000 to 5,000 shots with radio pressure shock wave on the quads. Now, a short summary for soft tissue management, entire quads, 2 bars, 12 hertz. Here, I would like to add a few notes on the hertz. At this point of time, there is no evidence I can find that which hertz is best for which indications. There is no correlation at this point of time, but there is a common understanding that higher hertz, higher patient tolerance. This is mainly because of the generating mechanism of the radio pressure shock wave. It's just like a hammer. If you hit the patient at a lower frequency, that would be very intolerable. So that's why higher frequency, patients find it usually more acceptable. So this is only the clinical relevance for your informations. And also, during the treatment, we move along the handpiece. We try to identify any potential trigger points, and we want to target them with another 300 shots for those trigger points. Now, here is the key. After understanding the combination of focus shock wave and the radio pressure shock wave, we try to do it once a week for 6 weeks. All right, once a week for 6 weeks. I'm not sure what would be the current protocol at your clinics, at your group, but we try to allow some time before the next treatment. And what are we aiming for? We try to aim for a therapeutic window for that Neo-A patient for a reduction in pain and restoration of mobility so that they can become more compliant to the exercise prescription to train up the muscles more effectively with the pain more in control. Okay, so this is pretty much I would like to share to you. And let's start with the Q&A, Sanjeev.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much for the informative session. Now we'll open the question and answers to the dais. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We are there actually to answer your questions. Stephen is the expert. He should be able to answer all your queries. We'll wait for your query. Anybody on the dais?
Yeah, actually in my chat room, I can still see the question from the last section. And one of your colleagues was asking, can we do the shockwave more than once a week for Neo-A? So I will leave to the group to answer. If you don't mind, you can just type into the chat box. Can we do shockwave more than once a week for Neo-A? Let's see if any answer coming up. I would say there's no absolute protocol, but the general understanding there, the reason why we recommend, Dr. Peter, maybe twice is the max. It's pretty logical, I will say. I'm not sure if a text group is also opening on Sunday, but you don't want to pack too much, too close between two sections. Once a week is the ideal one, but if you do the first treatment on Monday and then the next treatment on the same week of Friday, I think that is fair enough. The purpose to have rest between shock wave is that I remember one of the paper, they said that the soft tissues generation. So after the shock wave therapy, it takes time to build the new soft tissues. It's a mixture of degradation and the restoration. So it takes time to have the net synthesis between the two processes. So that's why enough rest between treatment is very important. So you don't want to just do it on Monday and then you do another treatment on Tuesday. No. According to that paper, it takes at least 48 hours to have the net synthesis for soft tissues. So I always use that as a guideline. Do not do the subsequent treatment with less than 48 hours, 2 days. So I would say maybe twice a week, yes, it's reasonable. Also, we have Samuel. Yes, we are doing once a week. Perfect. So I think the patient education is very important because, you know, we are Asian culture, right? We are based in Hong Kong. The more they receive, they think it's going to be better. So that's why patient education is the key. You have to explain to them. You have to have enough rest before the condition becomes better.
Thank you, Stephen. Is there any more questions from the dais? There we are.
Can we combine shockwave together with other treatments such as ultrasound or laser therapy? All right. I think you already cover on the same day too. Okay. I will say for shockwave, let's discuss about the laser therapy first. For laser therapy, we know that I'm not sure if you are using low energy level laser or high energy level laser, but again, the mechanism behind will be the same. I will say for laser therapy, I will use it as a combination on the same day, because for shock wave, we are going to rebuild the cascade, the healing cascade for the underlying cartilage and the soft tissues. But at the same time, during that recovery process, the healing cascade, the laser therapy, you are now using the high intensity laser. We can use the high intensity laser to deliver more healing energy for the system to heal. So I will say it's a very good combination if you can combine shockwave and laser therapy. All right. Now, how about ultrasound? Because from my understanding, you are using either one, shockwave or ultrasound. So with the same principle, ultrasound is mainly because of the cavitation. We try to, again, reboot the healing cascade using the cavitation from the ultrasound, which is very similar to the shockwave therapy. But again, the depth of penetration will be questionable comparing the penetration depth between shockwave and ultrasound. But if you are using ultrasound, I recommend you can also use laser therapy under the same concept, delivering more ATP, the healing energy for the whole system to heal again. So either shockwave laser as a combination or shockwave and laser as another combination. But you don't want to do everything on the same day, shockwave, ultrasound, and then laser. It doesn't make clinical sense.
There we have one more, Stephen.
Yeah. Should we ice the target area before the shock wave? Will it affect the healing process? Very good questions. I think the major concern of you doing the ice before the shock wave is you want to increase the tolerance of the patients. Yes, we can do that. But my concern is that the ice is doing the reverse, the opposite of the shock wave, because for shock wave, we also want to improve the NO, the nitric oxide release, which actually facilitate the vasodilation. But if we, before the shock wave, we do the icing, it seems a contradiction to what the shock wave does. So I would say my practice, I do not prefer to use the ice before that, but I try to like what we did in the demo. I use the shock wave, very low energy to numb the area so that to increase the patient acceptance for the shock wave energy, but not to use the ice to limit the superficial circulations. So that's my take. That's my take.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen, again. Yeah, I think we're running short of time. We have to go back to, yes. Yeah, we'll just wait actually for the.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I do hope that you enjoy the section and see you back in the main hall. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, NatSci Vital Health will be there for you. See you back in the main hall. Hope you enjoy this section.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Hello, looks like we have most people returned to the lobby. All right, welcome back to the lobby. Please, everyone, turn on your camera so we can do a quick screenshot, a group photo.
Group photo on Zoom.
Hello all, so good to see you all.
Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you for your patience. I hope that you all find the sessions beneficial. And if you have any more questions, feel free to contact us, Welcome or Nasai.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Crystal. Thanks for the session.
And thank you so much for having us. We would like to pass the floor to Christine. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, the whole text group, for attending. I'm very happy that all of you here. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that we have this technology that we can still connect with each other even though we are in the lockdown. And very happy to see all of you. And I hope that once the lockdown has lifted and we can move about, we would love to come and visit all of your centers, and we want to do hands-on demo. So we make do with the virtual workshop now. And I trust everybody has benefited from all the various modalities that we have shared today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us, Welcome and Natsai. And also our sales team who are covering all the outstation centers as well will be contacting your center shortly. And if you have any questions or you require any physical demo, our team can also bring our braces and modalities to show you so that you can try first. In the meantime, stay safe, everybody. And thank you again so much for attending. You're the best.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
very
you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Christine,
you.
for organizing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravin.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr.
Thank you.
Ravin. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
Dr.
for
Ravin.
Dr.
connecting.
Ravin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you
Bye.
again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Really?
Bye.
Unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Eaton.
Oh, very
Thank
well.
you, Cliff.
I'm actually
Thank
glad
you,
that we
team. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, Cliff. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Anita. Thank you,
No
Leo.
problem. Thank you.